Oh, Bill, you're so intelligent. Kiss me. Mwah. Mwah. Mwah.
Miss Frizzle? Is that Bill Nye?
Oh, goodness, our apologies. Class, we were just discussing our subject of the day, and things got a little out of hand. Anyways, we do have a special guest today to assist in your learning, Bill Nye. Please make him feel welcome.
I'm very uncomfortable.
Hello, class. Today I'll be another teacher in your journey to understand a very complex topic, sex and the brain. As always, we'll be taking the Magic School Bus on a field trip to explore sex, the brain, and everywhere in between.
All right now, class, let's go.
Please let this be a normal field trip. Let's talk about sex, baby.
To begin our journey, we will examine the hormones responsible for all things sexual. All sex hormones are steroids, synthesized from cholesterol with 4 carbon rings. Because steroids are fats that can easily diffuse through the lipid bilayer of the cell membrane, they bind to receptors that are in the cytoplasm, as opposed to proteins that bind receptors on the surface of the cell membrane and have direct access to the nucleus and DNA. Men have higher concentrations of androgens, such as testosterone, which is responsible for most masculinizing hormonal effects. On the other hand, women have higher concentrations of estrogens, the female sex hormones. These include progesterone and estradiol, the latter of which is actually synthesized from testosterone. Males and females differ less than you'd think at the molecular level.
And these hormones are controlled by the pituitary and the hypothalamus. The anterior pituitary gland secretes gonadotropins. The 2 particularly important gonadotropins for sexual development are luteinizing hormone, or LH, and follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH. In males, LH stimulates testosterone production by the testes, and FSH helps in sperm maturation. In females, both hormones cause the ovaries to secrete estrogens. The release of these 2 hormones control the menstrual cycle, or the female reproductive cycle. There are 2 phases of the menstrual cycle. The follicular cycle involves mostly FSH and helps to expel an egg from the ovaries. Then, in the luteal phase, a process known as luteinization occurs in which the small cells that surround the egg undergo chemical changes. Fun fact, non-primate mammals undergo an estrous cycle, which is similar to a menstrual cycle, except that it usually only happens once a year, or at certain times during the year when the production of offspring is most favorable, with optimal weather and food supply.
That's interesting and all, but how does actual sex occur in the brain?
Great question. The external genitals are densely innervated by mechanoreceptors. Axons from these receptors collect in the dorsal roots of the sacrospinal cord, which then send branches into the dorsal horns of the cord and into the dorsal columns, which project into the brain.
Okay, but what about the actual sex?
Oh, that's an easy one. You see, both the sympathetic and parasympathetic peripheral nervous systems control the sexual response cycle. Engorgement and erection are primarily controlled by the parasympathetic division, and completing the sexual arousal cycle from there is controlled by the sympathetic division. It is believed that the nerve endings from the parasympathetic system in the genitals release a combination of acetylcholine, vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, and nitric oxide into the erectile tissues. This causes the smooth muscle cells of the arteries to become relaxed, which allows them to fill with blood, and, well, the rest is.
The works of the sympathetic division. When the sensory neurons are highly active in the genitals, they excite sympathetic neurons in the thoracic and lumbar sections of the spinal cord. Men and women differ here in the response that the body has to this stimulation. Men complete an emission phase in which sperm are propelled and mixed with fluids through the vas deferens into the urethra as semen. Then they complete the ejaculation phase, when a series of coordinated muscular contractions expel the semen from the body, which usually triggers orgasm. In women, the sympathetic response causes the vaginal walls to thicken and contract. Orgasm in women tends to be much more variable in frequency and intensity than in men.
Ugh.
Yes, that's correct, Miss Frizzle. Ending the cycle is the resolution phase, in which the blood drains from the genitals and the sensations from the sympathetic division are lost.
Thank God it's over. I was about to be sick.
Oh, you seem to be enjoying the topic. Our condolences.
How could you think that?
At any rate, we should continue our discussion on the roles of hormones on sexual development. Steroids can influence neurons in two general ways. They act within seconds to alter membrane excitability, sensitivity neurotransmitters, and neurotransmitter release, and they can diffuse across the outer membrane and bind to specific types of steroid receptors in the cytoplasm and nucleus to influence gene expression.
Going along with this idea, there are two kinds of effects that hormones have on the body: organizational and activational effects. The organizing effects of hormones are their ability to, organize the perinatal tissues in irreversible ways that allow it to generate male or female functions after sexual maturity has been reached. The activational effects cause hormone levels to surge at certain times of sexual activity, which create changes in certain parts of the brain that are essential for normal reproductive behavior. These effects are usually temporary.
This is such an exciting topic, don't you think?
No, this is not exciting anymore. This is horrifying, actually.
I agree, Mr. Nye. This is very, very, very exciting.
Well then, let's continue. Where were we? Yes, the organizational and activational effects. These are heavy influences on the body's development into a male or female. And here's another example of how similar males and females are. It is a female hormone, not testosterone, that causes the change in gene expression that masculinizes the brain in a fetus. The rise in testosterone that occurs prenatally actually leads to an increase in estrogen, which in turn binds to estradiol receptors and triggers masculinization. In addition to the hormones produced by the fetal gonads, hormones from the pregnant mother's placenta circulate the fetus's body. You may ask, if estrogens create a masculinized brain, then aren't female fetuses negatively affected by their mother's female hormone in the placenta?
I don't really care. I thought this was a seminar on sex, but I guess I was.
The female fetus does not become masculinized in response to mother's estrogens due to alpha-fetoprotein, a protein found in high concentrations in fetal blood. It binds estrogens and protects the female fetus from masculinization.
All right, enough. All right. Can we please go back now?
Oh, I'm so sorry if this is not what you had planned for. I was just about to discuss love and bonding in the human brain.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
You were? Oh, Bill! Mwah, mwah.